La 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 la. Leonie Dawson refuses to be categorized. The podcast. My queens, my kings, my queers. I am here. I am here. I wanted to share with you a quick-ish post today about 50 things I did or created or loved in 2022. I say quick, but then, usually these things go off track fairly quickly, so we'll see how this goes. Now, there's a whole bunch of links that you can read about more of these things. So if you go to leoniedawson.com/502022, then you'll be able to find it there. Hooray! So, full disclosure, Austin Kleon started writing his 100 things list for the year a few years ago. I loved it, and so I started sharing my own list in 2022 and then in 2021. And now here we are again. It is a tradition. Oh, let us go. I'm so proud. This time, however, I'm just doing 50. My eyes are a little bit dodgy of late, so I'm just not going to push them. I'm just going to write it, press publish, crawl into bed, call it a day, and be gloriously grateful for all of this. So, number one, I started the year on holidays in Hervey Bay. It was honestly just gorgeous to have a true summer holiday. We would race barefoot after the ice cream truck. We spent hours in the pool, and it was perfection. And it was definitely an inspiration for us to start thinking about buying a home with a pool. Some people may ask, why didn't you put a pool in where you were? But the location that we were on, the acreage, wasn't right for a few reasons. I'll talk about more of those. And even if we're thinking about staying there, it just wasn't a great location for a pool because it was flat land that often had sheets of water move across it, and so it would have caused a whole bunch of contamination stuff. Anyway, so just having that pool house experience was just super joyful for us and started the cogs turning of what we might want to do differently. We loved that holiday so much that we went back to Hervey Bay for another holiday at Easter time. We've never actually really taken regular holidays before, but we're actually starting to get good at it now, and I am in love. I get what the big deal is about holidays now. That might sound like the most basic bitch thing on the planet to say, but it's true. For you, growing up, we never really went on holidays because my parents were farmers, and farmers don't really do that kind of thing. And then, when I first started dating Chris, we didn't have much cash, and so holidays seemed like a bit superfluous. And then we had kids, and then we were like, do we really want to go on holidays with kids? This is hard enough. And now they're at an age where it's actually enjoyable to go away. So I'm actually just I'm 40 years old. I've discovered that holidays are amazing. I'm here to preach the word of holidays to you. Oh, bless me. Just a font of wisdom, aren't I? Just a font of knowledge. All right. Number 3, I read 150 books. I will also have a roundup post of my favourites coming soon, so keep an ear out for that. I also rebirthed the Brilliant Biz and Life Academy so that I could go back to just being able to give away all of my courses and workshops and workbooks for just a really ridiculously affordable price. So that was a real joy to return to that. I also ran a small group coaching program for the first time in a decade. I had lunch with some business goddesses, Bridget Asselmont, Tash Corbin, and Emma Vega Malta. It was my first time meeting Tash in person after being friends online for years, and it was totally friend love at first sight. So enjoy her being referenced henceforth throughout this list, because over this year she has become one of my dearest mates, and I feel very, very lucky. Other things that happened this year, we got flooded in again when we were living at the acreage. We went through quite a few experiences where we're on the acreage. We were evacuated from a bushfire 3 years ago, and then in the past year or so, we just got just a shit ton of water, of course. And so we would get flooded in. Luckily, our house didn't flood, but we would be cut off from being able to get into town or take the kids to school. Or like the flooding would cause, like, there was a few weeks there where it would take us like 4 or 5 hours a day to do school run because of the rivers that lake over and stuff. It was hectic. It really was. So after all that, we ended up purchasing a new home, and a home that's closer to schools, it's closer to being the ocean again, and we sold our acreage, and it was just a 10 out of 10 move. I really am so in love with where we are now. I love being back in the suburbs, which is hilarious for me to say because it was kind of always our dream to go back onto acreage, and then we got there and we're like, oh, maybe that just isn't the right thing for this season in life, and maybe our dreams have changed. So anyway, suburbs is Bonza. Being close to the ocean is amazing. We are just super happy to have made that decision, and we also made the decision to move my husband's parents into our investment property in the same suburb as our new home. Another 10 out of 10 decision. It's been wonderful to have them close by instead of like 2 hours drive away. And we can just, look after them more, support them more. And it's lovely for my husband, it's lovely for the kids to have more of that relationship. So fucking bonza. I'm so thrilled with myself for doing that. I also made a video meditation, and it was the most beautiful day. It was when I was leaving, we're about to leave the acreage property and, finish there. And I went for a walk down to the wetlands nearby, and it started raining while I was up there. And it has the most beautiful billabongs. And it was just felt like the biggest blessing to stand barefoot in the billabong while the rain fell, and it was just a miracle. Anyway, if you want to go check out that video, it's on my YouTube channel. Otherwise, you can find the link at the companion blog post. Okay, other things. I adored the movie Encanto, the colours, the songs, the message, everything. And that's really saying something because I actually don't watch that many movies. I find they're a bit boring, and I also don't like being overstimulated. So it's this very fine line, right, between bored or completely overstimulated. And my kids started watching Encanto. I was, as usual, fucking around on my laptop, doing whatever while they started watching it. And then I just kept on seeing the colors and hearing the songs on it. And I was like, oh, hang on. And so I actually put my laptop away and watched it. And then 2 days later, I watched it again. What the fuck? So that is how much I loved Encanto. I was also psychiatrically diagnosed with ADHD this year. It's a couple of years ago that I was diagnosed with autism with likely ADHD. And that was through a psychologist here in Australia. If you wanted to try ADHD medication, it's got to be through a psychiatrist, which is a different process. So did that, got diagnosed. Hooray! I have tried the medication. It, for me, at this point, hasn't been life-changing. I'm still tweaking, trying, seeing how it goes. But, yeah, I'm glad I got that diagnosis process done. I also went through a really difficult stage in my life this year, and it's still tricky for me to even talk about. If you Google Leonie Dawson, When Awful Things Come Marching In, you can find out more about it there. I grieved the loss of my cousin, who was one of my dearest friends growing up, and then also had to process the shock of just a really catastrophically awful, weird horrifying thing happening as well. So I think, and it was all in the space of a week that my cousin passed, and this awful, horrible thing happened. And so I think of those weeks after those things happened, and just how much I was, oh gosh, on a different planet. And it was one of those very challenging times. And to add on to the difficult part of it, my beautiful husband broke his tooth and had to go through a very painful extraction, and then he had a reaction to the stitches that he had in, and he was just in a whole world of pain. And this was all happening while that happened, and so he was kind of barely functional. He was there physically as much as he could be, but just completely checked out with pain levels. And I just remember when he finally got his stitches out, and the swelling went down, and he sort of just came back, the color came back into his face, and he's like, honey, how are you? Like, I haven't been here for you during this process. And me just saying to him, I am not okay. I'm not okay with the things that have happened, and I can't quite grasp how I'm going to get over this. Oh, bless. Yeah. And I think I'm still, it's a few months later. I think I'm still healing from that experience. But one thing I did do, which really helped, was once my husband had kind of come back into himself, I was like, Tag, you're in, I'm out. And I went for a drive by myself, and went to an art gallery just so I could look at something beautiful, just so I could take in beauty in my eyes. And I went to a tarot card reader, and because it's just the thing that I've always done. And bless him, he just said a really good thing. He just said, grief and loss happens, and awful things happen, but at your core, you are good, and at your core, your life is good. And I don't even know if he said those words, but that's what I took out of it. It was helpful. It was really helpful for me. But yeah, it's been a lot. Anyway, so that thing happened, and on top of that, one of my family members had a cancer diagnosis, and that's been really fucked up, just super fucked up, because there's been a huge emotional fallout of it, and more things I can't really talk about in great detail, but it's sort of like a exorcism of old family wounds and, I don't know, abusive behaviours returning, and it was really fucked up to go through. And I can't say much more because it's not completely my story to tell, but it's just been very rough on multiple fronts. I do want to reassure you, however, that me, my husband, my kids, we're okay. We're all groovy, and for that I am 3,000 billion times grateful. Okay, what else? After that's a big shit. That's a big shit. On a lighter note, I created Get Organized in 21 Days, the course. Because that'll solve the world's problems. Life and business hacks to get shit sorted, and doing it from kind of like a neurodiverse front. Of course, it's not going to, fix the ills of the world, but you'll feel less fucking nuts by being organized. Okay. Other things. Number 16. I went to dinner with some local business goddesses. Some of them I'd already met, some who were new to me. And I can't quite describe it. It was sort of like just magic happening right there. We just sort of knew instantly that we wanted to just stay in the room together and become a mastermind. And since that glorious day, we've had a spa afternoon together. We had a full day business brainstorming session, which just knocked my fucking socks off. We've done a women's circle together. We're just about to meet up again to do a ceremony for the end of the year, and then we have another brainstorm session in January. And I'm so obsessed. I'm so in love with them. I can't wait to see their faces again. And I'm just like the biggest fucking cheerleaders of them. So if you want to internet stalk, be my guest. They are Tash Corbin, Bridget Esselmont, Castella, Madison Beaufort, Claire Riley, Claire Riley and Amanda Rootsey, and they're just so beautiful in so many different ways, and our connection's genuinely been one of the biggest highlights of my year. I can't wait for what's next, and it really brings out like I don't know, I just love being able to celebrate everybody else's achievements in that as well. So, for example, one of them set a goal for a book launch, and I was like, oh, that's fine, but I think you should like make more, like increase that goal. And so she doubled it. And then I was like, no, more. What would make you want to vomit? And so we ended up going 5 times her original goal. And, she was at the point of hyperventilating, but she fucking did it. She totally did it. And she went $10,000 over her goal. Like, I'm just so in awe of her and so proud of her. And it fills my heart with so much joy. It's just brought me so much energy just to be able to celebrate other people. I also, like, another one, Castella, is an illustrator and a surface pattern designer. And she just has a range out with Pillow Talk, which is one of my favorite stores. It's like a linen store, and I call it like middle-aged woman paradise because every time you go in there, it's just a sea of fucking middle-aged women, and I am in there loving it. Anyway, she brought out her range, and so I was in there and saw the photo of her and her range, and so I was taking photos to send to our group, and then Cass managed to walk in at that time, just completely serendipitously. And so I was like, oh my God, are you Cass Stella? And she's like, shut up, Leonie. And I was like, I'm not. Can I get a photo with you? And she's like, please, for the love of God, no. And so I completely fangirled over her in public. And she's like, please don't put these photos anywhere. And I was like, I will do whatever I fucking want. And so I did. So I'm just an absolute mama jar. You know what I mean? Just like, I am the proudest mum. Oh, bless. Anyway, our connection's just clearly been one of the biggest highlights of my year. I can't wait for what's next with them. All right, other things. I made a poster on 8 ways to increase sales. I celebrated 12 months off social media. It's actually now been almost 2 years as I share this. But what a fucking jam. It was so good. I also did a 21-day healthy habits reset, and I swam way more in 2022 than I have in years. Buying a home with a pool was just a fucking brilliant decision. Like, even today, one of my kids had one of their friends over, so they spent most of the day just in the pool, frolicking like mermaids, and we just noticed how much bigger our kids' smiles are when they're in the water. And the same goes for us, And I feel like, after 4 years here on the Sunshine Coast, my friend group is like deepening and consolidating, and it's the most glorious thing. Like, I've always found it super easy to make friends here on the coast. People are just open and friendly and beautiful. But I don't know how my friendships have grown this year. It's just amazing. It's like watching a field burst into wildflowers. And whenever I see them, like whenever I see my mates, somehow we just always end up falling into the nearest body of water. And it just makes this mermaid heart of mine very, very happy. I'm so grateful. Other things. 21, I made a free monthly goals business worksheet. Totally free. Go to the website if you want it. I got to have tea and cake with Viv Guy, who's like my English unicorn sister. I recorded like 19, this I guess will be number 20, podcast episodes of Leonie Dawson Refuses to Be Categorized, and the most popular episode was me answering your business and marketing questions. If you want more like that, let me know. Okay, earlier in the year, we totally thought that we were losing our 17-year-old doggy, Angel. But no, she just had a bit of an upset belly and she had explosive diarrhea into our vet's face while she was peering into our dog's asshole. And after that, she was right as rain. Honestly, I still want to vomit when I just think of that fucking day in that fucking bedroom and how disgusting it was. Anyway, look, we feel enormously blessed that she's okay. And we've had her now for like 14 years. She is still obsessed with my husband, like understandably, of course. She only barely tolerates other humans or animals, including me, which is hilarious because I love dogs. And she's like, I could do without you. She's like a cat. She really is. So we always joke that my husband is her support animal and she doesn't cope without him, which is true. Also me. Okay, I also created the how to hire and manage a VA workshop. I had a mother-daughter spa day with my darling friend Maddie from MadisonBeaufortArt.com. She is one of my very favorite people on the planet. We met like 3 years ago. We just can't get enough of each other despite her being almost 2 decades younger than me. Just being around Maddie is like screaming when we laugh, big bosomy hugs, and just telling the truth and adoring each other. Also, if you're ever at your Monday markets, make sure you go find Maddie's art stall. She is wildly talented and she even has a print dedicated to my boobs. Oh, what a treat. You'll know because it's called Leonie. Fairly obvious. It's not anonymous. Okay, I also ran a live round of marketing without social media. Other hard things, we went through an absolute fucking shit show of 6 months at my kids' school. It's hard to communicate just how brutally stressful and debilitating it's been. It's like one thing to go through something personally, but when it involves your kids, it's a whole other level of awful. So I am very much looking forward to a fresh new start for them next year at a brand new school. If you haven't gone through an atrocious time at a school, you're like, why would it be a shit show? And then for everybody else who's gone through a shit show at a school, you're like, oh, babes, I feel you. So here we are, best friends who have shared school fuck-uppery trauma. Oh, so fingers crossed. I just want everything to go beautifully. New school next year. Hooray. Okay, I made a poster about acting on inspiration. I binged season 2 of Bridgerton. This year's season 2, wasn't anywhere near as porny as season 1, and that was very disappointing to me. Still, I have high hopes for season 3. Like, bring back the porny moments, and I do love me a Regency romance. So, Penelope and Colin better fucking bring it. Like, I want more of just like fucking against trees and less of just like furtive staring at each other and maybe the accidental brushing of hands. Like, get fucked. I'm here for the porn. Okay, I'm really gonna have to mark this as explicit, aren't I? Oh well, cool. Okay, as if I haven't ever produced a podcast that doesn't have explicit. Okay, I also had to take an enforced screen sabbatical after developing an eye condition. I made an illustrated zine on being officially middle-aged. Hello, related news. I hired a house on a river for a family summer holiday with Chris's parents, and it was awesomely fun. Taskmaster continues to be my very favourite TV show. I could talk for days about how good it is and how often I can descend into like just scream laughs from it. I will say I am concerned about the fact that it's now being developed in Australia and America as well. the British Taskmaster, I don't think it can be recreated. Like the level of kind of homoeroticism between Greg Davies and little Alex Horn. Like how are they going to recreate that? How? Plus, I just love British comedians, so I'll watch. Yes, I'll watch them elsewhere. I'll watch the other Taskmasters, but I don't want them to. I don't want them to ruin it for me. Taskmaster UK. Okay, I'll stop just talking deeply about this. Okay, we family, we got obsessed by a YouTube, this guy, Ryan Trahan, and he did this challenge to travel across America on a penny. It was super funny, super interesting and heartwarming. We absolutely loved it. I developed plantar fasciitis. I added a podiatrist to the Rolodex of humans that I need in order to not be in pain. So Dr. Craig Wanless is just a 10 out of 10 healer hottie, of course, in a respectful, consensual way. I got myself some custom orthotics through him, and I also became an aficionado of sexy orthotic shoes as well, because can you tell I am middle-aged? If you are in need of sexy orthotic shoes and you are on the sunny coast, I really love and am grateful for Just Comfort Shoes, which is in Mooloolaba. I like that word a lot. Say it with me, Mooloolaba. Okay, I got obsessed by playing Star Stables, this online thing. Nothing says fun like a digital world where you just like ride around on pretty ponies collecting stars for different pony outfits. I'm not even kidding, guys. 6 fucking months. I started playing it with my kids. They got bored. I stayed addicted for another 6 months. I have since given it up with great difficulty because I have an eye condition. And I also need to stop spending so much of my life chasing fucking ponies in this other world. Okay. I also made a poster for things that US friends can do to support abortion rights. My favourite meal, now that's going to be hard, but it's hard to choose between a feast from Happy Days Diner in Maryborough or a German feast from the Bavarian in Maroochydore. Both pretty freaking spectacular. My favourite drink stayed the same as last year, I reckon. Passion fruit bubble tea with tapioca and rainbow jelly. Boba. Yes. My favourite exercise, again, was doing a Pilates session at Noosa Flow, followed by tea and cake at River Reed. I had the best fucking 40th birthday under the sun. I went away with my darling friends, Maddie, Tash, Jodie, Bron, to a historic chalet in the mountains. It was so fucking magnificent. It really was. Just time with women is deeply healing, and it just falls into this beautiful pattern of nurturing and love and laughing and kindness and hilariousness, and it's just come as you are deliciousness. Who cares about Wordle? I can play Hurdle. That one's especially fun when you're married to a musical savant, like I am. Hurdle is where you hear the first 1 second of a song and you try and guess what that song is, and then you can get more seconds of the song in order to guess it. But my husband often can do it with less than a second, which is just, I don't even know how, but he does. Okay, number 44. And this is very important, but I became the proud owner of a Roborock S7 Max V Ultra. It was a very long title, but I went from not having any kind of robot vacuum at all to having the top of the line robot vacuum mop self-cleaning station, and I couldn't be more chuffed with myself. It's like having a cleaner without having to deal with another person's energy. Plus, I don't have to remember to do anything for it. It's smart enough to do it all itself with minimal impact from me. And it's just the ultimate ADHD hack. I can't wait until they develop some machines that will just like tidy and put shit away and clean surfaces that aren't at floor level. Cooking with gas. Cooking with gas. I also started seeing a clinical psychologist, Dr. Anita Baumer from Balanced Mind Psychology. Total 10 out of 10 babe in a very, respectful, professional way, of course. So that was really useful. My darling cubicle boss, Lil, and her family came to stay for a holiday, and it was just the most gorgeous time. Like, I love that our friendship of two that started when we were just in our early 20s and idiots, still idiots. I was more of the idiot, let's be real here. Anyway, that little friendship of two has now expanded to a friendship group of 8 because our husband and our womb fruits all get along like a house on fire too. So she's got 2 kids, I got 2 kids. We all merged together into a big old friendship group of 8. Like, such a fucking rare thing. I'm so grateful. Like, when you like make friends with someone and like it is a goddamn miracle if their friends, if their kids get along with yours, if their husband gets along with yours, all that stuff. So, like, won the lotto there, doll. Okay, other things. Number 47, I handmade an illustrated zine on creativity called Dear God, It's Me, Leonie. I became obsessed with playing the Monopoly Deal card game. Even just writing this, just makes me want to play that game. I've inflicted that obsession on my family, my parents-in-law, my friends, anyone who I can con into being a captive player, really. Fucking love it. Number 49, I got a prescription for CBD oil through Montu to help my ASD symptoms. It has been life-changing over and over again. I couldn't be more grateful. My brain is on so much less on fire when it has CBD oil. When I ran out of supply at another point during the year, and it was just like scraping along concrete without it. Fuck. It's really just been a miracle for me. And I say this as somebody who never even tried marijuana until she was 39 years old. And for me, the CBD oil I use doesn't have THC oil in it, doesn't have psychoactive qualities. It's just does something so miraculous for my whole nervous system. Yeah. What can I say except I'm a fucking massive convert after being a prude for 4 decades. Okay, and last of all, and not least, I got to see my darling mermaid sister and my talented author friend Kalia Dunstan after 3 years of not seeing each other. We have been friends for 18 or so years. We've had so many magical and hilarious adventures together, and we had this conversation. I thought it was a really fucking funny one and a perfect way to finish, really. I said to her, oh, do you remember that time we went swimming naked in that river? She's like, well, I wasn't naked. You were. Wasn't that at the Murrumbidgee? I was like, oh, no, that was another time we went swimming and I got naked. I definitely got naked at the Murrumbidgee River. No, I was thinking of that other time we went swimming down at the other river and I got naked. And she said, oh, you mean that Reiki weekend we did, that creek down on Jenny's farm? I said, no, but I was naked then too. That's so funny. No, I was thinking that other time when we went to that river near Western Creek and we were doing a women's circle out. We decided to go swimming. I got naked and some kayakers went past. And it just, the whole fucking thing made me laugh. Just the amount of times that we were confused about me getting my tits out and going wild swimming, because it's happened so many times. It's happened so many times. Oh, bless us one and all. And I continue because I still did the same thing on my 40th birthday as well. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, thanks for sharing this 50 things in 2022 that I did, experienced, loved, suffered through. I'm grateful for all of it, really. I'm just so lucky. If you haven't already, make sure you go to leoniedawson.com/workbooks. I have my new rendition of the Goal Getter workbooks. I've renamed them again because that is what I want to do. This is the 6th name change, and I don't give a fuck. I'm always just wanting to make sure that it feels like really good, right, and true for my soul. So this year I've called them the My Brilliant Year Life and Business Goals workbooks. You can find them on Amazon. Leonie Dawson, Brilliant Year. I have updated the covers. The print quality is better than last year's print run. I wasn't super happy with the print quality and the print paper last time, so we did a bit of experimenting and trial and error, and it's a slightly more premium print this time, and I'm very happy for it. I've also got my copies. They look fucking stunning. I've gone back to using like a cover with like an illustrative girl on it, instead of like more of a plain Jane, just lettering one. I just can't go past the femmes. I really can't. And I don't care if it means that it's more off-putting for blokes to use it, because I don't really want to catch any blokes in my net. Look, I'm very, very happy with my wild goddesses, my non-binary humans, and the very, very rare intersectional bloke that occasionally turns up. Other than that, I'm good. Anyway, so they're there if you go check that out. LeonieDawson.com/workbooks. All right, that is all for me. And I'd like to finish this off by saying breast wishes. Kind regards. Get it? Titties. Nice, nailed it. Okay, love you. Bye.